Welcome back, family. We are continuing our study in the book of Revelation, and we're beginning a new phase of the study. So, we did the first 11 chapters of the book of Revelation, and those 11 chapters covered the seven churches, the seven seals, and the seven trumpets. And we saw that they move in harmony. And so, we just finished those three things, and we're now starting a different phase which starts off in chapter 12 and introduces us to the major players of the war. We're in a war. The war started, as the Bible will show us, it started in the third heaven with the rebellion of Asatan, who decided he was going to become his own God, and that was his doctrine, who decided that he did not trust the Father, nor that he need to be obedient to the Father. And that's his doctrine, and that's what he pushed. He started pushing it in the kingdom, and then he was cast out of the kingdom to the earth, and he pushed it here, and he continues to push it, and the earth is now filled with this doctrine of man as God, of man creating their own religion, of man making their own destiny, of man being the top and no God needed except who they create to be a God. And so he brought all that here. It's now here. And the other side, of course, being the side of the creator that made his chosen people a nation, Israel. And he started this even in before. When you go to Genesis, it started with Adam. And of course, it started with after Adam sinned, it went to Adam's son, Seth. Let's take a look in Genesis chapter 4. Genesis chapter 4. I'm going to begin at verse 25. We know that things went wrong with Cain, the firstborn of Adam, and Abel, the second son born, that Cain slew his brother Abel. And then that's when we see the first murder on the planet. And of course, that's a result of disobedience to the Father. Here in Genesis chapter 4, beginning at verse 25, and Adam knew his wife again, and she bare a son, and called his name Seth. For Yahweh, saith she, hath appointed me another seed instead of Abel, whom Cain slew. And to Seth, Tim also were born a son, and he called his name Enos. Then began men to call upon the name of Yahweh. So there was a distinction now made, which was made earlier, and we'll look at that in a minute. But now you had a sect of people who were calling on the Creator. Remember, the doctrine of man as God was prevalent once it got into the atmosphere. It poisoned the whole earth. But now you had a group of people, according to the prophecy given in Genesis chapter 3. Genesis chapter 3, let's look at that. Genesis chapter 3. And beginning in Genesis chapter 3, I'm going to start at verse 14. Genesis chapter 3, verse 14. And Yahweh Most High said unto the serpent, because thou hast done this, thou art cursed above all cattle, and above all every beast of the field. Upon thy belly shalt thou go, and dust thou shalt eat all the days of thy life. And I will put enmity between thee and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed. It shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel. Many people get confused about this until you understand from reading the word that the woman represents Yah's nation. And so he is now declaring Eve a repentant sinner. And he showed it later by covering them with skins of animals he sacrificed. In fact, let's take a look in that same chapter. This is again Genesis chapter 3. And I'm going to begin at verse 21. Remember, there had been no animal sacrifice yet. And let's take a look at verse 21. Unto Adam also and to his wife did Yahweh Most High make coats of skins and clothed them. At the same time, he clothed them with coats of skin. That's an animal sacrifice that the Father did, and covered them with those coats of skin. Remember, they tried to cover themselves with fig leaves. he covered them with coats of skins. And then verse 21, and Yahweh Most High said, behold, the man is, verse 22, the man is become as one of us, to know good and evil. And now lest he put forth his hand and take also of the tree of life and eat and live forever. Therefore, Yahweh Most High sent him forth from the Garden of Eden to till the ground from whence he was taken. So he drove out the man and placed him at the east of the Garden of Eden, cherubim, which turned, and a flaming sword, which turned every way to keep the way of the tree of life. So he did not permit man to have access again to the tree of life, because if man would have had access to the tree of life after he sinned, sin would be immortalized. But man did not have access. He was driven from the garden. And now we could see the whole picture. Satan wanted the man to sin against the Father and then eat of the tree of life and have access. Therefore, Satan and all those of the earth would be in eternal sin and misery. But that did not happen. And so that is why only those who are faithful to the Most High will have access to the tree of life, because the tree of life perpetuates life. When Most High told Adam, if you eat of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, you're going to die, what he was really saying is you'll be cut off from the tree of life and death process will begin, which is what happened. Okay, so when we're cut off from the tree of life, the process of death begins. All of us who dwell in the kingdom will have access to the tree of life that Ezekiel talks about and Revelation talks about. And because of that, there'll be no more curse and there'll be no more death. Because as long as we have access to the tree that gives continual, perpetual life, there'll be no death. But in Adam's case, he was cut off from the tree and driven out of the garden. And they protected the tree until the tree was taken away. Okay, so now no man could have access to that tree. But we have the whole picture. Adam and Eve sinned, therefore they must die. But there was a promise made that there would be a seed of the woman that would crush the head of the serpent. She knew this seed should be her firstborn, which is why she was praising the Most High when she firstborn had Cain. It would be a firstborn male. But Cain, of course, became a murderer. So he wasn't it. Therefore, she wasn't going to have the Messiah. But in the future, another woman who would have a firstborn son would have the Messiah. And that was the seed of the woman, which would crush the serpent's head. So he said, I'm going to put enmity between thee and the woman, between thy seed and her seed. Every seed that is born of a woman is not of the Most High. For example, the Messiah was born in Bethlehem. And the Bible says that Herod was troubled and all Jerusalem with him. So you had the seed of the woman, Miriam, and you had the seed of the serpent, Herod. And what did Herod do? He killed all of the children from 2 years old and under in Bethlehem. He had two seeds. And we're going to see that when we go to Revelation chapter 12. So the woman is always a representation of the Father's people and of his nation, which is why the Bible stresses the purity of the woman. It stresses her purity in terms of sexuality. It stresses her purity in terms of cleanliness. It stresses her purity in terms of virtue, the virtuous woman. Because that is a representation of Father Yah's chosen people, the virtuous, clean, pure woman. Now, we also understand that the woman that the Most High chose became a harlot. And she was redeemed from her whoredom through the Most High Spirit of grace and righteousness. And of course, eventually through the seed that would crush the serpent's head. So she was redeemed, and that is why the Messiah commanded us every place we teach the gospel to teach the story of Miriam Magdalene, who was a sinner and was redeemed through the grace and blood and sacrifice of the Messiah. And she was a Hebrew Israelite. She was a Hebrew Israelite who was redeemed by the grace and mercy and sacrifice of the Messiah. And so she was the first person that he showed himself to when he was resurrected. It was her that he showed himself to, and he told her, go tell my brothers that I'm risen, and I'll meet you in Galilee. Okay, so that is an example of the nation. Miriam Magdalene was an example of the redeemed and purified and cleansed nation. So that when the Father sees his people, he sees the purified people, that he knows that his grace and the Messiah's blood and righteousness will cleanse. That's what he sees. In fact, let's take a look in Numbers. When Balaam was paid by Balak to curse Israel, in the book of Numbers, look at what Balaam said as the Spirit of the Most High took over his tongue. This is Numbers chapter 23. Numbers chapter 23. I'm going to begin at verse 16. I'm going to read from verse 16 down to verse 21. And Yahweh met Balaam and put a word in his mouth and said, go again unto Balak and say thus. And when he had came to him, behold, he stood by his burnt offering, and the princes of Moab with him. And Balak said unto him, what hath Yahweh spoken? And he took up his parable and said, arise, Balak, and hear. Hearken unto me, thou son of Zippor. Yahweh is not a man that he should lie, neither the son of man that he should repent. He hath said, and shall he not do it? And he hath spoken, and shall he not make it good? Behold, I have received commandment to bless, and he hath blessed, and I cannot reverse it. He hath not beheld iniquity in Jacob, neither hath he seen perverseness in Israel. Yahweh, his Most High, is with him, and the shout of a king is among them. Now, at that time, we know they were going buck wild in the camp, to the point where when Moses came down from Mount Sinai, they was naked, they was tripping, right? We know that. And that 3,000 of them died. And more would die as a result of Balaam's counsel to Balak later on. But notice he said, I have not beheld iniquity in Jacob. He's talking about the purified woman that would be purified. Remember, Father is the Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end. He's looking at the woman as she's going to look once he's finished with her. Praise the Most High. And so that's the way he sees his woman. She was a whore. She did backslide. She did commit adultery, but she came back and he bought her. He bought her. That's what redeem is. He bought her from sin. Okay. And again, Hosea points that out for us. Hosea chapter 3. Hosea chapter 3. And this is the story of Israel and how they are redeemed. Hosea chapter 3. In fact, let me start in chapter 2. Yeah, I'm going to start at chapter 2. And I'm going to begin at verse 16 of Hosea chapter 2. And then I'm going to read through chapter 3, which is 5 verses. So starting in Hosea chapter 2, verse 16. And it shall be at that day, saith Yahweh, that thou shalt call me Ishi, and shalt call me no more Baali. For I will take away the names of Baalim out of her mouth, and they shall no more be remembered by their name. And in that day will I make a covenant for them with the beasts of the field, and with the fowls of heaven, and with the creeping things of the ground. And I will break the bow and the sword and the battle out of the earth, and I will make them to lie down safely. I will betroth thee unto me forever. Yea, I will betroth thee unto me in righteousness and in judgment and in loving kindness and in mercies. I will even betroth thee unto me in faithfulness, and thou shalt know Yahweh. And it shall come to pass in that day, I will hear, saith Yahweh. I will hear the heavens, and they shall hear the earth. And the earth shall hear the corn and the wine and the oil, and they shall hear Jezreel. And I will sow her unto me in the earth, and I will have mercy upon her that had not obtained mercy. And I will say to them which were not my people, thou art my people. And they shall say, thou art my Most High. Verse 1 of chapter 3. Then said Yahweh unto me, go yet, love a woman beloved of her friend, yet an adulteress, according to the love of Yahweh toward the children of Israel, who look to other gods and love flagons of wine. So I bought her to me for 15 pieces of silver, and for an homer of barley, and an half homer of barley. And I said unto her, thou shalt abide for me many days. Thou shalt not play the harlot, and thou shalt not be for another man. So will I also be for thee. For the children of Israel shall abide many days without a king, and without a prince, and without a sacrifice, and without an image, and without an ephod, and without a teraphim. Therefore, afterwards shall the children of Israel return and seek Yahweh their most high, and David their king, and shall fear Yahweh and his goodness in the latter days. So as he had Hosea buy his harlot wife, now he bought us and brought us back and fed us and clothed us and cleansed us and made us virtuous again. That is why the woman represents the nation. And of course, again, as we know, let's look at the words that the Bible show us in Amos chapter 3, while we're in the neighborhood. Amos chapter 3, verses 1 and 2. Amos chapter 3, verses 1 and 2. Hear this word that Yahweh have spoken against you, O children of Israel, against the whole family, which I brought up from the land of Egypt, saying, you only have I known of all the families of the earth. Therefore, I will punish you for all your iniquities. You only have I known. He has not beheld anyone else. He is seeing Israel as cleansed nation and a perfect bride, and that's his woman forever. Praise the Most High. So he has chosen her. He is not a man that he should lie or repent. So when he say he has chosen her, when he says she's going to be clean, when he says I have not beheld iniquity in her, and they shall do no iniquity, neither will deceit found in their mouth, that is going to come to pass. Praise the Most High. That's going to happen. Praise the Most High. So as we are now awakening, it is now the time is turning. The time of the Gentiles is being fulfilled. But now here, before we get there, we have to understand our roots. Where do we come from? What is this war? How did it begin? And who is it about? Well, first, it's about Israel, okay, which we begin here in Revelation chapter 12. It's about Israel first. Let's take a look. This is Revelation chapter 12, beginning at verse 1. And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. A woman clothed with the light of the sun, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. The Bible is a book of numbers, isn't it? It really is. So 12 is representative of the 12 tribes of Israel. 12 tribes of Israel, 12 apostles, 12 gates of the 12 tribes of Israel of the city of the New Jerusalem. Praise the Most High. So this woman is a crown of 12 stars. This is representative of the nation of Israel. Now, verse 2, and she being with child cried, travailing in birth and pain to be delivered. So she was in the final stages of giving birth. She was going to give birth to a child. Israel is giving birth to a child. Wait a minute. Let's understand something. If a woman gives birth to a child, right, the child is hers. Is that correct? So if a woman gives birth to a child, the child she gave birth to is hers. Who the daddy is? Well, that's something else. And that's why the saying goes, mama's baby, right? Daddy's maybe, right? Because if she had the child from her body, that's her child, right? So what am I saying? Israel has a child. That child is Israel's child. Anybody else that claims that child didn't have birth to it, right? So if your wife has a son and that's your son, and that son comes out looking just like you, right? Nobody can come up and say, well, that's not your son. That's my son. wait a minute, first it's my wife's son, and he looks like me in my likeness, in my image, and it's my son. So you can't come along and say, now this is your son. This is my son. I claimed. Right? So Israel has a son. Well, let's read it. Revelation chapter 12, verse 3. And there appeared another wonder in heaven. And behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 crowns upon his heads. Now, there's another one. So you have the woman, she's about to have a baby, Israel, and you have a great red dragon. It had 7 heads, and the heads had crowns on it. This is the same dragon that's in Revelation 13, but it changes its form. In this form, it always has 7 heads and 10 horns. But the change is where the crowns are. Let's take a quick look at Revelation 13 for a second. In verse 1, just notice the crowns. And I stood upon the sand of the sea, and I saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. So here, the crowns are on the horns. Revelation 17 explains that. But in the meantime, in Revelation 12, you see the great red dragon with 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 crowns. Now, the 7 heads are the 4 nations that scattered Israel and Judah. 1 head for Babylon, 1 head for the Medes and the Persians, 4 heads for Greece, and 1 head for Rome. 7 heads. Y'all got that? 1 head for Babylon, 1 head for the Medes and the Persians, 1, 2, 3, 4 heads, get my hand to think, for Greece, and then 1 head for Rome. That's 7 heads. So here you have 7 heads and 10 horns. The Roman head had 10 horns on it. The Roman head had 10 horns. Okay? So here, and it's represented as a great red dragon. The word dragon is the word serpent. Same. Great red serpent is the great red dragon. Same. Okay? Synonymous. Serpent and dragon. So here, this dragon appears, the woman appears. You have two entities here. The dragon and the woman. 2 entities here. Okay? Verse 4. And his tail, and we know what the tail represents, and his tail drew the 3rd part of the stars of heaven and did cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born. So the dragon wanted to destroy the woman's child as soon as it was born. Remember what Moses wrote. I will put enmity between thee and the woman, between thy seed and her seed. The seed will crush the serpent's head, but thou shalt bruise his heel. So the dragon, recognizing the seed of this woman, who it is, that this seed is the one that will crush his head. He wants to kill this seed as soon as it comes forth, to end the threat, because the existence of this seed means the end of Asatan's existence. Do y'all understand? We're going to get a little deeper in this for a second, but y'all understand so far. So the seed of this woman, the seed of Israel, her child, represents the end of the existence of the dragon. So therefore, he must kill this seed as soon as he can to crush the threat. Okay? Verse 5. And she brought forth a man-child who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron. And her child was caught up unto Yahweh and to his throne. So this child that was born was going to be ruler of all the nations. Again, a threat to Asatan, who is now the ruler of all the nations. Okay, so the existence of this child not only means he's going to be ruler of the earth, but also means the end of the existence of the dragon. So the dragon hates this child, hates the woman that had her. See, brethren, let me show you how we've been deceived. When we come out of slavery, the Ku Klux Klan, I know I'm throwing you way off with this one, huh? The Ku Klux Klan started a program of propaganda where all the black slaves were threats to their white woman. And they started saying these black beasts, these black animals are going to rape our white woman if we let them become equal with us. And they put fear in all white people, so-called white people. They put fear that these black beasts are violent and that they're hard and they're all like Nat Turner and they're going to come kill all of us and rape our women. So that propaganda continued. It continued in media so that even President Woodrow Wilson, Birth of a Nation, was a movie, a silent film that was made to propagate that. And President Woodrow Wilson was with it and viewed it at the White House to show you what they think about us. And ever since then, we have been propagated and we have been made to be beasts and animals. Then they actually redlined us, put drugs and heroin and crack in our neighborhoods, and then made the 3 strikes law, and then propagated the neighborhood with gangs. Gangs didn't always exist. So that they can fulfill a self-fulfilling prophecy and make us into animals. So that now, if you fit the description, you know what that means, right? I don't got to explain to the Hebrews. You're walking down the street or you're driving down the road or you're coming out the store and you fit the description. You could be killed. And brothers have been for fitting the description. Brothers have been killed because a white woman yelled rape when nothing happened to her. Wildwood, Florida was destroyed because a white woman's lover beat up and she blamed the black man. Tulsa, Oklahoma was burned to the ground and they dropped bombs from planes on black part of the city because a white woman said she was offended and a black man molested her in an elevator. Neither of which was true. You fit the description. So you come and you have the description of an animal and you got brown skin, which you can't get away from, and you fit the description. Okay? And really, that's the story, right? Y'all all understand that. If Hebrew, y'all get it, right? But look, it's a lie. First of all, let's just make it plain. That's a lie, number one. Number two, the real reason. Y'all ready? What's the real reason that they did all that? Because their master that created the Ku Klux Klan, that created Christianity, Satan, you remind him of the man-child. Do you understand? That's really what it is. You remind him of the man-child. So when he sees you, he sees a threat to his existence. You need to understand this. When he sees you, and when those that are under his control see you, they see a threat to their existence because you remind him of the man-child, born of the woman. And it goes all the way back. You know it goes back to Egypt. What did the Pharaoh say? Pharaoh, who was of Mizraim, who looked like us, said, if it's a woman, keep it alive. If a Hebrew woman has a man-child, throw it in the river. That means throw it to the alligators and the crocodiles. And that's why Moses' mother made a boat and put it in the river. She was supposed to throw him in the river. She didn't want to do it. But so she just set him in there. But that's why he was there. So when Satan sees you, your black face, he's not looking at an animal. He knows exactly who you are. He knows you may not understand who you are, and they'll kill you whether you understand or not. But he knows who you are. He knows what you remind him of. Just like he wanted to eat and destroy the man-child. When he sees you, He's scared. And really, when you look at it, the redneck racists that have lynched us, that run around with these Confederate flags, honestly, they're scared to death. They really are. I mean, otherwise, why would they come at you with sheets on? They don't want you to see their face. So they have sheets on. And then there might be one of you, Emmett Till, 14 years old, in your uncle's house, and they come at you with 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 of them because they're scared. That's why. Brethren, when we recognize who we are, we have no need to fear them because they're scared of us, and they need to be, because the Messiah does look like us. See, the Messiah looks like us. Satan knows that. That's why they made this whole propaganda about you being some violent, vile criminal that fits the description. All of that because of this, because of Revelation 12, because you do fit the description. You fit the description of the Messiah. You fit the description of the man-child. You fit the description of the woman. That is why the existence of the woman, the existence of the man-child, means the ceasing of the existence of Satan. And he knows that. He knows that. He knows his life is over because of you. Oh, yes, they would try their best to stop. And this is the thing, brethren. The cat's now at the bag, right? And that's why I tell people, you don't need to convince anybody of who you are. This is the thing. What do we move by when we find something that's truth? What causes us to understand this truth? Conviction. Conviction. If you study the word of the Father and you have received of his spirit and you are convinced, yes, Ahaya, Ashar, Ahaya, he exists, that he exists, and you are convinced of that, you don't need to prove it to nobody. You don't need to prove it to nobody. All you need to do is be convicted, because, brethren, we may have to die for our conviction. So you better make sure you're convicted. Either you in or you out. You got to make sure you're convicted. Because if you in and you convicted, it don't matter what anybody say. I don't care what some Ashkenazi Edomite try to say, well, you're not really a Jew. I don't care what you say. I don't care what you think. It doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is my conviction. You understand? Praise the Most High. See? What matters is my conviction. That's what matters. That's the only thing that matters. So once you are convicted that you are of the bloodline, and you know, and that's why somebody said, well, you know, I've had especially children in your faith. Well, we've all been mixed up. How do you know what you are? Let the redeemed of Yahweh say so, whom he has redeemed from the hand of the enemy. That's the word. The word said, let the redeemed of Yahweh say so, whom he has redeemed from the hand of the enemy. I'm convicted. That's all that matters. Not only that, we do have proof in our own families. We do have proof. The other day, I'm watching a movie, and in the movie, there's this Hebrew brother with this big stomach, and he drunk, and he getting up. And I said, Dad, it looks just like my Uncle Yuli. I said, how Uncle Yuli like that? And that's what it is. You see it in your own family. There's no doubt. You could see it. Well, what you see, Satan also sees. And he is scared to death that you exist. And he is scared to death because at this stage right here, we're past the existence stage. See, we done survived already. See, that's over. So he know we survived. So now what he's trying to do is bribe us to join his side, right? He's trying to bribe us to join his side or kill us. That's what he's trying to do. Okay, that's it. And at the end, he'll do both. He'll bribe you to join his side and still kill you because he's a murderer. Can't help it. Murderers gonna murder. That's what they do. Haters gonna hate. Birds gonna fly, and murderers are gonna murder. That's what they do. Liars gonna lie. That's what they do. See, so he hates you because of what you look like, what you remind him of. But now that we're awakening, he really scared now. See, now he's trying to lean on the point that they got the majority. Satan has been to the third heaven. Why is that important? He knows exactly how many angels are up there. And he knows the armies of the Yahweh of hosts. And he knows he got no shot. But because he's so proud, because he's a liar, because he is the ultimate narcissist, he is not going to acknowledge that ever. Okay, ever. So that is why when you see them look at you and you fit the description, just remember, you fit the description of Messiah. They may look at you as some violent criminal. And, like I said, now they have developed, it's almost like you have created a farm system. You know what you did? You redlined us. You put us into depression. You attacked our men. Then you attacked our women, right? Then you tried to raise the Hebrew woman above the Hebrew man, right? And now you got angry. I could say, I know. If you raise the Hebrew in the United States, you angry. How can you not be? How could you not be? Look at what's going on. See, they don't want to see that. They don't want to know about that because in this brainwashed media, European control system we in, they are completely cognitively dissonant. They don't want to know. They don't want to understand. I didn't put you in slavery. I never did that to anybody. You're the children of those that did. And we're the children on whose backs your people got rich. The only problem that you have aside from that is we're the apple of the Father Yah's eye, the creator. That's where you messed up. That's where you have a problem. Okay? Praise the Most High. It's all good. Let them be scared. Let them argue with themselves. We know who we be. We don't have to worry about that. Praise the Most High. Let them be scared. Let them argue with themselves about who they are. That's their business. We know who they are. The word shows us who they are. They're the children of Yafet. They're Gog and Magog. That's their problem. We understand who they are and where they come from and why. When you look at Revelation 12, you now understand why. When you look at Exodus chapter 1, now you understand why. You know what's up. That's what it is. And it's all good. See, brethren, knowing is more than half the battle, isn't it? Understanding who you are, where you come from. See, that is why, you know what? You can look at Indians in Britain, right? There's people that are of Indian descent in Britain, East Indians. They know if they come from India. They know if they come from Pakistan. They know if they come from Bangladesh. They know who their family is. They know who their language is. They know the history of their family. See, all we know is what continent we were taken from. We were taken from the continent of Africa. We don't know what tribe. We don't know what nation. We don't know nothing. We don't know nothing except we were taken from the continent of Africa. But now when we read the word, we understand we ran into the continent of Africa from Israel. We were over 1,000 years in the promised land. That's where we come from. And we went into the continent of Africa. And they sold us to the children of Yafet. That's what we know now. See, we know now, we don't know what tribe, but Paul says this. Now we look through a glass darkly, but then we shall know, even as we are known. In other words, when we get to the sea of glass, it's going to be natural. It's going to come to you what tribe you belong to. You don't have to worry about it. It's going to come to you naturally. And you'll know. And you'll feel right at home with your tribe. Like you've never left. Praise the Most High. Praise the Most High. So that is why we see this dragon tried to kill the child, and the child that was born was destined to rule all nations with a rod of iron and to be caught up into the throne of Yah. That is the destiny of the Messiah. Now, verse 6. The woman fled into the wilderness where she hath a place prepared of Yahweh that he should feed her there 1,260 days. There it is again, 1,260. So the woman representing Israel will flee for 3.5 years, as Elijah fled for 3.5 years. Does that make sense, y'all? And this place is prepared. Now notice what happened too. Verse 7. And there was war in heaven. So now he goes back. First, he sees what happened in terms of the woman having, that is Israel having the Messiah and the Messiah's place and Asatan's response to that. Then he goes back and he shows you that Asatan was in heaven. It was cast out and drew 1/3 of the angels with him. And now in verse 7, I want to show you this. And there was war in heaven. Mikael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels. Now, why didn't he say Yahushua? Why didn't he say Jesus? Why did he say Mikael? What was the purpose of him calling him Mikael right here? What is that? Let me ask you a question. Who named the Messiah? Where did he get his name from? Who is the being that said his name's going to be Yahushua? Who gave him that name though? Yahweh gave him the name, right? You're correct. But it was the angel Gabriel that told Mary, you're going to have a son and you're going to name him Yahushua. Y'all got me? Testing 1, 2, 3. Everybody got me? So Gabriel came and told Miriam, you're going to have a son and you're going to name him Yahushua because he's going to save his people from their sins. He is going to be the son of the highest. Y'all remember that? And then she said, how shall I have a child if I have not known a man? In other words, I'm a virgin. He said, don't worry. The spirit of the Father is going to overtake you. And that thing that's going to be formed in you is going to be called the Son of Yahweh. Now, he existed before he was born of Miriam. Micah tells us his going forth were from everlasting. Moses talked to him. Abraham saw him, and he was him, the Messiah that came to Abraham and said, about this time next year, you're going to have a son. And you're going to call his name Yeshua, because you laughed when I told you, right? Your wife laughed and you laughed when I told you. You're going to call his name to laugh. That was Messiah with 2 angels that came to him, okay? So he was shown, and Paul say that Israel drank of the spiritual rock that followed them, and that rock was Messiah. Also, the Father told Moses, I'm going to send my angel before you. That was, again, Messiah. So Messiah was there on Mount Sinai when the trumpet sound was there. Messiah was there. Okay, so he existed before he was born. In Psalms 2, when it says, thou art my begotten son, this day thou art my son, this day have I begotten thee. That was the day he was born as Yahushua. He was begotten of the Father, right? So, but he existed before that. So when he existed before he was begotten, his name was not Yahushua. His name was Mikael, one like the Most High. Okay, Mikael. Now, he's going to have another name, which we're going to know because it's going to be written on this, right? I'm going to write upon you my new name. That's what the Messiah told Philadelphia. I'm going to write upon you the name of my God, the name of the city of my God, which is New Jerusalem, and I'm going to write upon you my new name, right? So he's going to have a new name. The Bible kind of tells us his name shall be Yahweh, our righteousness, right? So that's what it says in Jeremiah 23. He's going to be Yahweh, our righteousness. This is the name whereby he shall be called, Yahweh's righteousness. Praise the Most High. So he was born and his name became Yahushua, but he was existing before that. And that's why he told the disciples, what if I go back up to heaven where I was before? And he told the Father, I want to have the glory that I had with you before the world was. Isn't that what he prayed to his Father? He said, I want to share them the glory I had with you before the world existed. So that tells you he existed before the world did. And when he existed before, his name was Mikael. So this event in Revelation chapter 12 is telling us it's an event that happened before he was born of the woman. Does that make sense, y'all? It's an event that happened before he was born of the woman. Okay, so it happened while his name was Mikael. Does that make sense? Everybody with me so far? It happened when his name was Mikael, before it became Messiah. That is why Daniel called him Mikael. Daniel didn't know him as Yahushua because he hadn't been born yet. Daniel knew him as Mikael, right? And that's why he said, at that time, Gabriel said, shall Mikael stand up? The great prince was standing for the children of thy people. So that's before he was born. So it's Mikael. Well, this event happened before he was born. Okay, so it says, and there was war in heaven. This is before he was born as Yahushua. It was war in heaven. Mikael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels and prevailed not. Neither was their place found any more in heaven. And the great dragon was cast out, the old serpent, called the devil, and that's Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. So now we're getting a little history. We have the woman with 12 stars, the purified Israel. Israel has a child. It's her child. This is what people see. Gentiles can have him, but he don't belong to them. He's our cousin. Like, you could have very close friends, right? All of us have homies. You grow up with a homie, right? You grow up, there's somebody, I'm fortunate. There are people that I went to kindergarten with that I still stay in touch with. There are people that from my elementary school that I still stay in touch with. I'm very fortunate that they're still alive. We're all still alive, and we can touch base with each other. So there's brothers that I've known since I was yay high to a, to whatever. I was to a fire hydrant, but I've known them since then. Okay. But I have cousins. My first cousin is my blood. And no matter what, love, hate, whatever, that's my blood. That's my first cousin. That's my daddy's sister's son. That's my cousin, my blood, no matter what. Okay. So that is different. I can have homies and we could be real close, tight, but none of them are my blood. So Messiah is our blood. He's our cousin. He's ours. Now, Gentiles can come on in, hang out with us, be our homies. Please, come with the fam. Be homies. Chill out. Settle down. Let's party together. Let's ride. But our cousin, that's our cousin. That's our cousin. So no matter what, we cousins. Praise the Most High. And that's a bond that no matter what, forever, that's a bond, right? That's a bond right there. Bloodline, cousin, there it is. See? And he belongs to us. He came from us. Praise the Most High. The woman had him. That's us. Praise the Most High. All right. All right. So Satan deceives the whole earth, and we can see it, and his angels working with him. Praise the Most High. Verse 10. And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come salvation and strength and the kingdom of our Most High and the power of his Messiah. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our Most High day and night. So the Bible says, now is come salvation and strength and the power of the Father and of his Messiah. What was that power? What did the Messiah say in the beginning of this book of Revelation? I am he that liveth and was dead, and behold, I am alive forevermore. Amen. And have the keys of hell and of death. That's the Messiah. So the fact that he was living and he was dead and he's alive forever, that is the salvation and strength of the nation. Now is come salvation and strength and the power of our Father and the power of his Messiah. That's right. The power of resurrection. And you know what? I do this pretty much weekly. I go to visit my daddy's grave and I kneel next to it and I pray to the Heavenly Father and I thank him for the power of the resurrection. Yep. Excuse me. Praise the Most High. Sorry. Yeah. I thank the Father for the promise and the power of the resurrection all the time. And that's what's being talked about here. I know you do, Ra. I know you do. I know you do. Yeah. And he says, the accuser of the brethren is cast down. Now, Satan has showed himself to be an accuser. And there's two witnesses to this. The first one we know. The first one we know is Job. He accused Job before the Father. And we know that the Father used Asatan to perfect Job, but that Asatan tried to accuse Job before the Father. We know also that the Bible tells us in the book of Jude that there was an argument over the body of Moses. Asatan tried to accuse Moses, because why was Moses not permitted to go into the kingdom? Because he did not sanctify the Father in front of the people. He said, "Must we fetch you water out of this rock?" As if he was the God. The problem, of course, was he wasn't the God. And the problem secondary was the people looked at him like that because he was the messenger, right? So because they looked at him like that, and he said, "Must we fetch you?" Now he would permanently be a God to some people. Therefore, he had to be put to death, and he was. But he was resurrected, which is why you find him standing on the mountain with the Messiah and with Elijah, who was translated, right? So Moses was accused. He was being accused by Asatan, by the accuser of the brethren. Well, now the Bible tells us that since the Messiah's death and resurrection and high priestly ministry, the enemy has no more permission to accuse us before the Father. He can accuse us before the angels that come down here to protect us, but he can't accuse us before the Father, and ain't nobody listening to him because he's been exposed, because the power of death has been broken. Why is that exposure? Remember his doctrine. You will live forever. You will not die. And he, that is the enemy, has the power of death. Well, now Messiah said, "I have the keys of hell and of death." What you going to do now? What now? I have the keys of hell and of death. That's what he tells us to tell him. And so the accuser he don't got no power. So everybody in the kingdom of heaven now knows this man is done. He had the power of death. Now the Messiah has the power of hell and of death. He took it from him when he came up out the grave. He took it from Asatan. Okay, so now he's cast down. He cannot go back to the kingdom and accuse anybody in the third heaven no more. He's done, which is why, brethren, you and I must be trusting the word of the Father above everything. That's why he said, "I magnify my word above all my name." We must trust the word of the Father above all things. We trust his word. We trust his promises. And the accuser can't say nothing to us. Now, that is why, brethren, you will have people, if you probably did, come at you with your past. People that have known you when you was whatever you was. And they will come at you with your past. Generally, they'll be family members. Generally, you can't talk to me about no Most High. I know you when you was out there doing X, Y, and Z. Who you trying to fool? Is that true or not? They will never let you forget what you was. That is Asatan, the accuser of the brethren. What you must remember is that you are part of the woman. And the woman is pure. The woman is clean. The woman has on a robe of righteousness. The woman is you. Okay, so you got to remember that. Don't allow the accuser to bring you back to what you came out of. Remember who you are. It's very important that you remember who exactly you are. You are of the children of Israel. You have been cleansed not because you are good. You've been cleansed because the righteousness of the Father gave to you, his righteousness, because the Messiah has the keys of hell and of death. And he has appointed life to you. Praise the Most High. Eternal life. Praise the Most High. They're always going to bring up your past. They're always going to do it, brother. They're always. I mean, I got family do it to me. And I know they do it. I'm not the only one. Who you trying to? I remember when you did X, Y, and Z. I remember you did that. And sometimes they'll even add to it to try to get you to respond. I learned this. Don't respond. Did the angel respond to Asatan? He said, no. They didn't have no railing accusation. He said, Yahweh rebuke you, and moved on. Took the body. Praise the Most High. Took the body. Didn't have to argue. Don't argue with the enemy. Don't argue with him. That was Eve's mistake. She argued with the enemy. She tried to talk to him. That was a bad move right there. Don't do that. Don't argue with him. There's no argument. See, judgment is given to Messiah and to the people of Yah. There's no argument. Understand? Let them argue with themselves. Let people argue. We don't want to say, you ain't no Israelite. Yeah, you ain't no blood lover. Don't let them argue with themselves. Don't fight with them. For what? They ain't got no heaven to give you, no hell to put you in. Don't worry about them. The word of the Father is what it is. So he accused the brethren, and he still does. But ain't nobody in the third heaven listening to him, and you ain't got to listen to him either. It's all good. Whatever. You know, I learned to say, yeah, I did it, and okay, and what? Yep, and what? Praise the Most High. Praise the Most High. All right. Now, verse 12. Therefore, well, let me start at verse 11 again. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony. And they loved not their lives unto death. They overcame the accuser of the brethren through the blood of the Lamb. You see, brethren? See? The Lamb holds the keys of hell and of death. And he has declared you clean because you have repented of your sin. Therefore, you have no more sin. He said, I have not beheld iniquity in Israel. It's not there anymore. Yes, you did it, but it's gone now. They're looking on the books of heaven and say, what sin? I don't see any. I don't see any. All I see here is righteousness. No, he did. It's not there. All I see here is righteousness. Because in place of your sin and my sin is the righteousness of the Messiah. So there's no sin there anymore. So the Messiah's perfect righteousness is placed in our books as ours. And he puts it on our behalf. Therefore, they can accuse anything they want. It's all good. It's all good. We know the Messiah has wiped that away. Praise the Most High. The Bible says he throws it into the sea, the depths of the sea, never to be seen again. Praise the Most High. Okay. Now, therefore, rejoice ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. Oh, yes. So, now we see Asatan's a deceiver and a liar, but he's raging lunatic mad. It's like some of these guys that are rapists and murderers. They never come to their victim as a rapist and a murderer. They come real nice, real smooth, even charismatic, until they get you where they want you, right? Then they want to kill you. They want to rape you and kill you. That's Asatan. Okay? He's very smooth, charismatic, and nice, but he hates you and he wants to rape you and destroy you. But you got to understand that already. Praise the Most High. Praise the Most High. Yep, a wolf in sheep's clothing. That's exactly what he is. A wolf in sheep's clothing. Don't trust. The other day, this man was stuck. He said he was stuck on the road. And there was a old childy effect, 70-year-old man with his girlfriend living in a trailer house, right? He had a lot of land. And the dude said, my car ran out of gas. Can I make a phone call? So the old man let him in the gate. And they walked up to the house. When homie got into the house, he pulled out a gun and shot the old man. Shot him twice. Old man lifted up his hand. And the bullet went into his wrist and his arm. It went through his arm into his shoulder. And he fell. And the man was going to shoot him again. And the man woman jumped on this dude, and they wrestled, and the dog jumped on this dude, and the dude was getting ready to he knocked the woman down, getting ready to kill the dog, and homie that fell happened to have his gat in his back pocket, and then he was able to clock it back with the bad hand, and then he let loose on homie. That was the end of homie. Come to find out, he was a child molester, convicted child molester and rapist. But he didn't look that way. He said, the man said, he looked a little strange, but he couldn't tell anything wrong, right? Got in homie's house, going to kill him and his wife and his dog and take whatever he could take and keep on going. But that's how it is. People don't look like what they really are. Everybody hides behind the mask, right? Especially in this society we in. They like to hide behind masks. Don't trust none of these people, man. Trust the Most High Yah and his word. Praise the Most High. Okay, so here it says, rejoice, ye heavens, but woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea. For the devil is come down unto you having great wrath, because he knows that he has a short time. To a person, to a being that was supposed to live forever, 6,000 years is nothing. And now we ain't got but 7. So we come to the end of thousands of years of battle. You know this being is going to go stark raving mad, right? That's why it's important for us to have the bubble of protection that the Father offers us. The guidance and protection of angels and of the Father, you know, we good when we have that. And when we're on our own, that's a problem. That's a problem. Okay, that's a problem. Okay, verse 14. And to the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, into her place, where she is nourished for a times and a half a time from the face of the serpent. And the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood after the woman, that he might cause her to be carried away of the flood. Now, what does the waters represent again, brethren? It represents the Gentiles. Thou shalt have the seed convert, the forces of the seed shall be converted unto thee. That is Gentile. So the Satan let loose his flood after us into the wilderness, just like Ahab did, trying to get Elijah. And the Bible said, but the Most High caused the earth to open her mouth. Verse 16, and the earth helped the woman, and the earth opened her mouth and swallowed up the flood, which the dragon cast out of his mouth. See, so he's going to want to come at us. He's going to want to kill us, and we're going to need to be fleeing. And don't you worry. The Father got you. If he sent 2 angels to actually drag Lot out of his house and say, get out of here, we're getting ready to destroy this place, believe me, he's going to save you from Sodom and Gomorrah, that is Babylon. Just stick with the Father, okay? He got you. He's going to have you where you're supposed to be. Stick with him. Don't panic. Stay calm. Stay cool. Don't panic, and you'll be all right, okay? The worst thing we could do is start panicking and tripping. What we need to do is stay calm and let him show us what we need to do and where we need to go, and there's no safer place on planet Earth for us than where he has us be. Praise the Most High. Verse 17, and the dragon was wroth with the woman and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which keep the commandments of Yahweh and have the testimony of Messiah, Yahweh. Now let's break. This is a lot in this chapter. Just verse 17. There's a lot here, brethren. First of all, I want you to notice he couldn't kill the woman. The woman is Israel. So he couldn't get rid of Israel as a nation. But he went to make war with the remnant of her seed. Who is her seed? Messiah is her seed. And we are the remnant of her seed, which is what we were talking about earlier when I said he's not trying to kill you because you're some violent animal and you got brown skin, and the darker your skin, the worse animal you are. No, you remind him of the seed of the woman. And he hates you because he knows the seed of the woman means his death. That's why he hates you. So he's angry with the seed of the woman. That's you and me. And he's at war with us. See, if you understand that, let's just stop here for a second. Do you understand that Satan is at war with you? And that all the powers of Satan at his disposal, if he can use them, will destroy you as soon as he can. Which is why if you give him opportunity, he will do it. Which is why you need the protection of the Father. You need to know who your daddy is. Don't act like you don't, like he doesn't exist, or don't act like he's found in some Baptist church. He's not. Your daddy is the Heavenly Father, the Creator. And you are the seed of the Messiah. You are his cousin. That is Asatan's at war with you. As long as you understand that, you're safe. Really. As long as you repent and you have his righteousness on you, you're safe. There's nothing that can get to you. If the Father has decided it's not your time, there's nothing that can get to you. There's no nuclear warhead. There's no bomb. There's nothing that can get to you. If the Father has decided it's not your time. Okay, so don't worry about man. He don't decide your time. Your Heavenly Father decides your time. And as long as he got you protected, it ain't your time. And we're living at a time where some of us are never going to see death. Because the Messiah is going to come in our lifetime, very shortly in our lifetime. A child born today won't make it to be 10 years old before the kingdom comes. Did you hear me? A child born today won't live to be 10 years old in Babylon. That child's 10th birthday will be in the kingdom. Praise the Most High. Praise the Most High. So this is how close we are to it right now. It's like KRS-One say, stay alive, all things will change around. Stay alive, all things will change around. That's exactly what's happening. Their time is up. It's fulfilled. And so now the knowledge of who we are has come to us. The knowledge of what's about to happen has come to us. The knowledge of the Father's protection has come to us. Now we understand why they're scared. Now we understand. They don't even understand why they're scared, y'all. Seriously. They don't even know why they're scared. They keep saying we want to take our country back. Take it back from who? That's the thing that kills me. We want to take our country back. It's your cousins that put the country in the situation that it's in. It's your cousins that killed the Hebrews of the northern tribe to take the country. So who are you taking it back from? I don't know. But they determined to take their country back. And they scared and they don't know why. They know it's almost like you can feel there's something ticking. There's something happening. I just don't know what it is, but it's bad. Yes, you're right. It is bad. You better grab you a Hebrew and let him tell you. Otherwise, you're going to have a problem. Because it's coming. For sure, for sure. Praise the Most High. So that was the introduction of the players in the game. Israel, Messiah, Satan, and his angels. That's the players in the game. Chapter 12. Chapter 13 is going to introduce you to what Satan is desiring in his end result of the game. And then chapter 14 is going to show you the Father's response to Satan's desire in the game. Praise the Most High. But the players in the game are set in chapter 12. The woman, her child, his seed, Satan, and his followers, and their seed. The players in the game are set. And the outcome of the game is set. Dragon was wroth with the woman and went to make war with the remnant of her seed. And the remnant of her seed keep the commandments of Yahweh, and they have the Messiah's testimony. They have the Messiah's testimony, which is his faith, which is his righteousness. They have the Messiah's righteousness. They have the Father's word. They have the commandments through that righteousness. Praise the Most High. Praise the Most High. May the Most High bless you and keep you. May he cause his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. And may he lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. We'll continue by the grace of the Father, Yah, on next Friday night as we study chapter 13. Boy, this is the main chapter of where we're at right now, chapter 13. This is the main chapter of where we're at right now. So, yeah, let's buckle up and get ready. Study the word. Please read your word. Pray to your Father. Let him guide you in truth. Shalom, brother.